Good day. Welcome to our discussion for supply chain management. This is our first topic. So we will have the introduction for the supply chain management. And then before that, we have different objectives. So number one, we are going to discuss the importance of supply chain management, describe a supply chain and define supply chain management, describe the objectives and elements of supply chain management, and describe local, regional, and global supply chain management activities. So in order to have a successful organization, a combination of the involvement of the suppliers and customers are very important. So as the businesses pay attention to materials, to production and distribution, to design and transport, and to the needs and wants of the customer. So of course, as businessmen or future hoteliers and restaurateurs, in order for us to give or to exceed customer expectations, no? So in order for us to give quality service, we need to be sure that the materials that we are going to use for a certain that we will give to our customers or guests are of high quality. Of course, after ensuring that the materials and the products are of high quality, we need to be sure that the production and distribution are also the same. No, the process or the procedure that are used for the production and distribution are on the right track. Okay, and then design and transport, the design and transport are applicable or matched with on how far the place of the customer is. Okay, so there are different modes of transportation, right? So we have the land transportation, we have the air transportation, and we also have the sea transportation. So if the customers or the guests are far from you, what mode of transportation are you going to use? Or if a certain restaurant, or if you are a commissary in a certain restaurant is far from you, what mode of transportation are you going to use? And is the transportation or is the vehicle condition is appropriate to deliver such items? So those are the considerations, and of course the needs and wants of the customer. So as businessmen, no, we are going to think of what are the products and what are the services that our customers wanted to have or wanted to experience. So on that point of view, we are able to think of the services that we are going to offer them, or how are we going to innovate our product or existing products in order to match with their needs and wants. Okay, we define supply chain management according to the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals as the planning and management of all the activities involved in sourcing and procurement, conversion, and all logistic management activities. Importantly, it also includes coordination and collaboration with the channel partners, which can be suppliers, intermediaries, third-party service providers, and customers. So as you can see, the definition itself, no, supply chain management has a lot of activities. No? So there are planning, okay? There are sourcing, procurement, logistics. No? So we have different people to talk to engage with, coordinate and collaborate with different channel partners and other intermediaries bago pa siya makapunta kay end user or kay customer. Okay? Okay, so the importance of supply chain management. This overcomes challenges and meet today's ever-changing and more demanding customer. No? So as we accept the needs and wants of the customer, and we are going to produce it. No? So uh, having a supply chain management to be managed or organized supply chain. Uh, we are able to overcome such challenges for the expectations of our guests, no? To have their satisfaction. So if the supply chain is managed properly, there will be no problem. There will be no customer complaint. So there are 7 rights of supply chain management. Okay. So we have the right product or service to the right customer, okay, in the right place, at the right, in the right condition, at the right quantity, and for the right cost. Because we can never have a successful supply chain management. These 7 rights are not coordinated with each other. No? So you are going to give the right product and service to the right customer, to the right place, okay? At the right time, of course, at the right condition, at the right amount or quantity, and of course, for the right cost. Okay? So there are different practices for supply chain management. We have the sustainability, we have the distribution and production. So we will start and in the production and then followed by the and then followed by the sustainability. And then again, in a circular motion, production, distribution, and sustainability. So the, the products that you are going to produce should be sustainable. Okay? Uh, for example, in Mang Inasal, no, they are serving chicken. They are serving asal. So for them to be able to uh, check if their product are sustainable. So at first, they use um, banana leaves, for on the plate. Before having the chicken, they have banana leaves. Okay, but now as you can observe, they are not using the banana leaves anymore. The sustainability of the banana leaves. And of course, there are some costs that this banana leaves also give to the whole operation. So they are not able to sustain it. There are additional costs for it. So they are came into the decision of having uh, plastic plate that is banana leaf, for them to be able to attract the market. Even they change the real leaf to a plate that is designed uh, like a banana leaf. Okay? So they are not able to sustain the leaf, itself, the actual leaf, but they have this innovation of why not having a produce that is shaped like a banana leaf for a much uh, see, for us to save more, no, in the long run. Okay? Kasi kapag syempre banana leaf yung ginamit more banana leaf, no? What if wala ng banana leaf? So ano nang gagamitin nila? So in the long run, they are able to save much cost because they use the plastic banana leaf shaped like or designed like banana leaf. Okay? So that's sustainability. On how are you going to sustain your products? No? And then for you to be able to again produce it and then distribute it and then again sustain it. Okay, so that's the central practice of supply chain management. There are different roles of intermediaries. Okay? So we have the greater efficiency in making goods available to target markets. So we have intermediaries provide the contact. No? So intermediaries, ibig sabihin ito yung nasa, no? So they provide the contact, of course, experience, specialization, the skill of operation, and the match, they match the supply and demand. Okay. So, for example, sa restaurants, no? So, for the contact, sa contact information, the intermediaries provide different contacts, no? You are able to different people, so different suppliers, no? Because you meet this supplier, so this supplier knows supplier B knows supplier C, and you need to know all of them, no? So you have the contact. And then selecting supplier, no, you need also to consider yung experience ng supplier. So if they are more experienced, so they are much reliable, no, than compared to others. Then if they are also specialized with that activity, no. For example, you are working in a hotel, no, you're going to have a supplier. So you're looking for a supplier. So please look for their specialization. Okay. And then for the scale of operation, so here, no, so you are going to have your restaurants for how many years back? So, syempre, you want to have it long years to run your restaurant, your operation longer. So, with the use of intermediaries, no, so you are able to uh, have connections, to much experience, to much specialized suppliers, and for you to be able to have a long scale of operation. And of course, when selecting your supplier, you need to match the supply and the demand. No? If the supply is high, no, so what are you going to do? You need uh, have it work to also make the demand high. No? So what you're going to do, you need to improve your strategies. You need to improve your marketing. You need to improve everything for your store to have the matching of supply and demand. No, kapag mababa yung supply, meaning mataas yung demand. Okay? So, anong gagawin mo? You need to have additional suppliers. Okay? Okay. So next, we have the different functions of distribution channel. So the distribution channel informs, so they promote, they do contact, they give you contact information, they match, they negotiate, they perform physical distribution, they also involve in financing and risk taking. There are different factors implications. So in the development of new products, finding more customers, competition, okay, new job opportunities for the different areas such as purchasing, logistics, and operations, supply chain management. So, chain management, meron siyang mga effects or yung mga implications. No? So, in doing the supply chain management or managing the supply chain, you're able to develop new products. You are able to find more customers and you have this competition. And of course, new job offers or opportunities for in the area of purchasing, logistics, operations, and supply chain. So there are different elements of supply chain management. So supply chain management is customer focus. So they give more focus to customers. So whatever it is that they deliver, so whatever it is that they produce, no, the this is the needs and wants of the customers. So value adding process, okay. So as the supply chain goes on or the procedure of supply chain goes on, there is an added value into it. Okay, so for example, you work in a restaurant, no? So you have this supplier. So how are you able to uh, have that supply more valuable to customers? So how do you get the importance of this supply? Serving, um, for example, steak. Okay, so you have the supplier of the steak, no? But before the steak delivers to you, so the steak costs, for example, 100 pesos, for example. But when you sell it, no, when you sell it, the cost of the steak is uh, become higher. It becomes, for example, 200 pesos. So why is that? So because there is an added value within the process of terms of cost, no? and add an additional, no? So you also add value if your restaurant is well known. So people are going to your restaurant because they know that your restaurant is famous. Mm. So your restaurant is one of the top restaurants in the Philippines, for example. Care about how much is the cost of a steak. No? If it's the cost of the steak is doubled or threefold. No? So it depends upon on the added value, depends upon the environment of the store or of the restaurant. It depends upon the prestige, of course, and it depends upon the target market. So there are lots of factors to consider, no? When you add value to product in connection to supply chain management. And then another element is planning and management. No? So you are going to plan how many products are you going to order, and then what time it will be arrived. What truck are you going to use? Are you going to use a refrigerated truck or the condition of the truck? So if you are going to have or to deliver or expected delivery for dry items, what kind of vehicle are you going to use? So it do a lot of management and planning. No? They're able to plan and then manage your plans, and then of course integrate collaboration. No? So when meeting a supplier, you need to be um, to integrate all the factors, that is necessary for the success of the operations. You need to collaborate with them. You need to know the process on how these products will be delivered to the or to the end user in of high quality. Okay? Next. So this is the basic linear supply chain model. Okay. So from the supplier, we have the manufacturer, we have the distributor, we have the retailer, and then we have the shopper. Okay. So for the suppliers, so there are information, the materials, parts, and products being given to the shopper. And then from the shopper, there are information orders and payments then to the supplier. So again, this is a linear or all of these intermediaries will be uh, affected by the movement or the activities of both the shopper and the supplier. Okay? So before the information goes to the shopper, it will go first to the manufacturer, it will go first and then after with the distributor and then to the retailer and then last is to the shopper. And then same with the shop, the information orders will go first to the retailer and then affected distributor, the manufacturer, and the supplier because of the payment. So there will be a repeat business or repeat service because there is a linear or a relationship between the shopper, the intermediary, and then vice versa. So here naman is a more complex supply chain management model. So you have the raw material here, you have the intermediate components here, you have the end product or manufacturer, the focal here, you have the wholesalers and the retailers. You know? So and then the product service flow and then the recycling information activity planning integration. So as compared to the basic linear, it's almost the same. It's just like there are lots of arrows or connections here, no? So you have the raw materials, suppliers, and manufacturers because one product has different suppliers. For example, a bottled water. No? So a bottled water before it became a bottled water, it's uh, the manufacturer for bottles. Manufacturer for the of course the water itself, manufacturer for the machine that will be that are going to use for the creation of the bottles, the plastic bottles and the cups or the lids, yung cover ng bottled water. So there are different suppliers. So you have the intermediate component here, the first supplier. No? So it may be uh, commissary or a store or a place where these raw materials are placed. No? And then they will go to the focal firm or the distribution center. Okay, so they'll go to the distribution center, and then if the warehouse or the wholesalers will order to the focal firm, of the materials that they need, okay? And then the retailers will order to the distributor, and then it has uh, it will going to have different end product consumers. So there are lots of connections here. Okay. So again, the product and service flow, okay, so from the supplier to the retailers, and then the recycling and returns, no, yung sustainability na tinatawag natin. So the retailers will go back to the raw material supplier, and then the information and planning activity and integration will be of both ways, from the supplier, retailers, okay, both ways. Okay. So next is another example is, for example, you're going to have to make a bread or to sell a bread. No, before a bread becomes a bread, it is it came from a plant. No, so after becoming a plant, it will cultivated by our farmers, and they will use trucks, and it becomes flour. It becomes flour. So as you can see, there are dollar signs here, meaning there are costs not generated, and then there are also trucks here, and then you have the flour, okay, settled here inside a factory or a commissary, and then it will be delivered by a truck again with the cost again, and then delivered to a big shop with this cost. So as you can see, from $0.25 to $0.33 to $0.48 to $0.56 to $1 to $1.08 and to $1.29. The cost adds up, okay, because of the chain of supply, no, that has done. Okay, so the supply chain shown in the figure starts with, for this figure, no? So 1 and 2, firms extracting raw materials from the ground, selling this to raw material suppliers, and then turn the raw materials into, and then make and sell intermediate components. Okay, and then assemble finished products and sell them to wholesalers or distributors, and then resell these products to retailers as their products orders are received, and then retailers in turn sell this product to us, the end product consumer. Okay, so this is a value chain model by Michael Porter. So as you can see here, we have the supplier, and then the manufacturer, we have the distributor, we have the retailer, we have the customer. And then we have the arrows that creates value from the supplier going to the customer, and then providing value customer goes to the supplier. So the supplier, the manufacturer, distributor, and the retailer are the ones creating value for their products, no? And then the customer is the one who provides value for the retailer, distributor, the manufacturer, and the supplier. Okay? So another factor is the customer. One way of determining customer similarities and differences is through customer segmentation or the market segmentation. No? So we can differentiate or segment our customers by different types: geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral. So there are different reasons why customers or guests buy or check into our hotel or reserve in our restaurant. So it depends upon the geographic first. So if the place is just near, no, if your restaurant is just near the place, so more or less the demand will be high. But if the location of such restaurant, no, is not matched with the geographic location of the customers or guests, probably they might go into your place, no, in seasonal, no, so during season, by season, so they might go there twice a year or once a year or not even a year because it's so far. For the demographic, no, so the demographic is the age, no, age, the gender, no, depends upon it. No? So on how uh, this segment of the market will like the product or will buy the product depends upon their gender, their economic status. Okay? So if they are young, so what are the products that are and services that are going to meet their expectations? And then for the psychographic, no, so it's more on the intellectual side of customers. No? If they really want to have this product, no, do you think of the of reasons why they like stuff? Okay, so psychologically, and then behavioral. So it depends upon their behavior and whether to go to a restaurant or a coffee shop or not. Okay. So these are the four basic types of market segmentation: geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral. So the perception of the value of each activity in the supply chain, okay, the value from the organization's perspective, and then the value to society at large. Again, from the interior, no, value of each activity in the supply chain, and then for value for patient's perspective. So this is much larger perspective, and then value to society at large. Okay. So this is customers' value satisfaction according to Kotler. So the customer, for them to be able to have total customer benefit, so they subtract the total customer cost from the total customer benefit, and then the result is their perceived value. Okay. So what will I have if I will buy this at this amount? So that's the perceived value. Okay. And then more benefits plus competitive advantage is customer satisfaction. And then customer satisfaction is equals to customer loyalty, and this is equals to A. So the more you take care of your customers, the more profit, the more loyal customers, the more profits you will have. Okay, so supply chain affects this perceived value of customers, the customer value satisfaction and loyalty, because if the products are not satisfiable, or if for example you are working in a restaurant, food is not good, okay, it tastes bad, so you will not gain customer loyalty. Why? What is the reason why the food tastes bad? Because somehow the supply chain affects. Maybe you do not have a reliable supplier, or maybe there's a problem with the logistics. No, maybe there's a problem with where did you get your. So that's the factors affecting the supply chain management in connection increasing customer loyalty. Okay. So value-adding activities in the supply chain help transform materials into a product as it moves through the chain, something the customer wants and is willing to pay for, and enhance the customer's perception of the product worth. No? So the value-adding activities, in the supply chain, it helps the transformation of materials into a product. No? So as it moves around the chain. So it is something that the customer wants and is willing to pay for and repeatedly. So it enhances the customer's evaluation of the work. So for example, you have a $1.25 coffee here, and then you have the $3.25 Starbucks coffee here. So they have same suppliers but different brands. So how to attain competitive advantage? So SCM must be segmented, aligned with the and managed collaboratively. Okay. So branding is everything. So with this example, they have a, supplier, same supplier but different brands. But still, no, the branding is everything. No? So if you hear the word Starbucks, no, when you get into Starbucks, you dine into Starbucks and you experience this, parang you have this feeling that I am satisfied, I am, they exceed my expectations, parang I reward myself because of the branding, because you know that the cost of the coffee there is much larger than the coffee, but there are some instances that they have the same supplier but different brands. Okay? So again, branding is everything. So again, this focus on or depends on segments. No? So demographically, the segment of the market are all professionals. No? Psychologically, they want to experience this. Behaviorally, so parang they want to experience this and they behave as parang they feel special when they go there. It depends upon the segment of the market. Okay. So align with the market first, and then it should be, of course, managed collaboratively. Okay. So service supply chain, so first intangible products. So we have the utilities, the transportation, the warehousing, the information, the finance, the insurance, the education, healthcare, and entertainment. Supply chain management is a fact is one of the factors that control cost and improve that services. Okay, so if the supply chain management is organized, you know, so from the example of on how a bread becomes a bread and how the bread goes into the store, or the bake shop or to a certain bakery. So it has all of the processes has an equivalent. So if the supply chain management is managed, or organized, or managed, or well organized, or well managed, this will control costs and this will improve services. So as you can see here, we have different industries. No? Belongs to hospitality industry. We have the food service, tourism, we have the travel, and it connects. No? It overlaps with each other. Okay? We are interconnected with each other. So we have clubs, institutional food service, assisting living facilities. So we have lodging, restaurants, timeshare events, and then all of that will use or is connected to an industry, the attraction, destination, marketing, tourism planning, and development. So we have the travel industry, we have the ferries, the airlines, the bus and coach, we have the car rentals. We also have the commuters, the local travelers, the migrants, and the students. No?